Long, long ago, in a faraway kingdom, Kushali had a suggestion for how we should add these things to the page. Do you remember what you said? Put them in a list. I like that idea, but our brains had not expanded to contain such madness yet. Now I think we can handle it. Let's put these rascals in a list. Paragraphs are so 2017. Let's put it in a list. How do we make a list in HTML? Yeah. Either an unordered or ordered list. Yeah, what's the difference? One has bullets, one has numbers. Yeah. If it's numbers, that's ordered, right? And that is an OL element. An unordered list usually appears as bullets, and that's a UL. There's also a definition list, DL. But we're going to do a UL here. So you don't need to type this. I'm just doing this by way of demonstration for what we want the output to be. But inside our div here, what I want it to look like when we're done is we'll have a UL here. Inside that UL, it'll have list items, LI. I want to say something like name, Tyler, age, about that much. Favorite color, well, I don't know. It'd be really cool to display favorite color in a nifty way instead of just the background color of the whole thing. Because what if their favorite color is black and we have black text? That's not going to be readable, is it? But this is what I want. For each new user that we add in the form, I want them to get their own unordered list and then a list item for each of those attributes. That's my goal here. That sounds like a lot. To tackle this, we better make like Mario and Luigi and break it down. Oh man, where do we even start? What's the first line I need to change? Christine? What's the first line? What do I need to change? I don't want them in a paragraph anymore, do I? I want them in a UL. Say it like you mean it, and also so I can hear it. Yeah, I create an element of type P. I want to instead create an element of type UL. That's right. Man, your future's so bright, you better take those shades off your head and put them over your eyeballs where you don't get blinded. All right. Create element of type UL. So the name P here doesn't really make sense for this variable anymore, does it? So I'm gonna name it list. So I got to change it in a few places. I've got to change it in a few places. So here's a little trick I'm going to use. Check this out. I'll put my cursor right here. Then I'm going to hold Option or Alt and put my cursor right there. I've got two cursors. I'm going to do it here too. Look at that. Watch this. Oh my gosh, brain explode. Look at that. It did it everywhere. Yes, multiple cursors. Hold down Alt, and you can put your cursor in more than one place at once. Yeah. So I renamed the variable to list because it's not a P anymore, is it? Now, I don't just want to stick text content inside that list. I want to add list items to that list for each field. So let's just get rid of this. What do I do next? I want to add a list item to that list. How do I do it? Canal, what do you say? Okay. So we created a UL this way, right? Document.create element UL. Before we can add a list item to that list, the list item needs to exist, right? So let's create a list item. And that is an element of type LI. So if this is how we create an element of type UL, how do we create an element of type LI? Break it down. We've created a list by saying document.createElement.ul. We want to add a list item to it. But before we can add it to it, we need to actually make the list item. And that's an element of type LI. How would we create from scratch an element of type LI? If that's how we create an element of type UL, to create one of type LI, yeah. Yeah, just document.createElement.li instead of UL. We'll save it to a variable. I'll call it name item. How's that? Equals document.createElement.li. Just a different kind of element. But that's how you create an element. You understand we have to make that before we can put it in the list, right? It has to exist first. But right now, both the UL and the LI are just floating around in space. They're not on the page yet. We're adding the list to the page later down here. But this list item needs something in it, right? It's empty. So let's set its text content. Name item dot text content. And let's use a template literal here and make the string name, colon, and then the username. So $ curly brace, username. Go ahead and put age in there if you want. Age. Oh, except that's a different list item, isn't it? Never mind. Ignore me. We'll do age in a second. Let's stop here for a moment. All right, so we created a list item. We put some text inside that list item. What if I tried this right now? What would happen? Nothing. Yeah. We have our name item. The name item's got something in it, but the list is still empty, and the list is the only part we're adding to the page. Let's prove it. Refresh. Blah, 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 years old. Yeah. Nothing happened. Because there's nothing in our list. So what do I write? How do I fix that? I put the list on the page like this. So how do I put the list item inside the list? I need to append it, right? Are you almost raising your hand, Kushali? What's that? Yeah, but I didn't actually say what code I need to write. Go ahead. So list dot append child. And we want to append name item, right? That's the list item. Yep. We could just wait to create the list until down here where we're going to use it if you wanted. Or we could do it up at the top. Doesn't matter. So we create the list item, but it's still just floating in the ether. We need to append it to the actual list. And then the list gets appended to that div, so now it's on the page. Is it all true? Got a favorite color? Pink. Let's see here. That's pretty decent. Oh yeah, we didn't do anything with the color yet. But by golly, we've got our bulleted list, don't we? We could even add somebody else to it. Yay. Totally works. Let's go ahead and add age. How do we add age? We're basically going to copy 3 of these lines and change some details. Which ones? We basically want to do the same thing that we did with name, only we want to do it with age, right? So what do? What do I start with? Ooh, how about Yamini? So when we start dealing with name item, these 3 lines right here, just do the same thing. So we create name item. We'll create age item. Again, it's just document.createElement li. It's just a list item. Age item dot text content. We've done this before. We use a template, so I can say age colon $ curly brace age. And then we append it after we append name item. List dot append child age item. Name, Yamini, age, who knows. Favorite color, got a favorite color? Red. Ooh, that's a nice little red. Not that we're displaying it, but hey, age shows up and it works, right? Not bad, not bad. So, first we create a UL from scratch. It's not doing anything yet, though. There's nothing in it. So we create a list item. Then we stick some text content into that list item. Then we stick that list item into the list. So again, we could just like move the creation of the list down to right before we actually use it. Maybe that would help with some of the confusion. So we just create the list items by themselves. Then we create the list, and we add these list items to the list. Then we add the list to the page. Let's make sure I didn't break it with all that copying and pasting. Cool. Follow? It's a lot, I know. I believe in you. Just break it down into tiny little chunks. We need a new list item. Well, that's a new element. We've done document.createElement enough times by now. We know how to do that. And we've learned that that just creates an element out there in space. It's nowhere on the page. It's not in the DOM. The only way to add it to the DOM is to append it to another element. That could be another element that we created from scratch, or it could be like users, which was something that we grabbed off the page with query selector. Again, if you wanted to make it a little easier on you, you could wait to declare that until right before you're going to use it. So that when you see users.append child, you're not like, wait, what was users again? Oh yeah, it was this div. All right, so here we've got getting values out of the form. We've got creating list items. We've got building the actual list. And we've got sticking the list on the page. And then we've got resetting everything. All right, not bad. Add it goes from our working copy to our staging area. Oops. Display users in an unordered list. Push it so it's no longer living just on our laptop.